sports broadcasters, they're a huge part of everything that we do, everything that we watch. But in order to get to the best, which we will a little bit later, you got to start at the bottom. So who are some of your worst broadcasters in sports?
Well, we were just talking, the thing about worst broadcasters, sometimes you just forget they even existed as broadcasters. They were so bad. And one guy I'm going to think we were mentioning was Dennis Miller had a foray into Monday night, not even broadcasting, but Monday Night Football.
One of the flagship shows.
Pinnacle of the position.
The flagship position. And it was just 1 year, I believe, right?
It was a couple of years because they did the experiment
multiple
where they wanted to bring in the comedian, and it was just bad, poor, out-of-date references, just awkward humor. It was bad.
The funniest thing is I think he's actually one of the best comedians of all time. Absolutely.
Wow.
But if you listen to his albums, older albums, great. But yeah, that was an awful experiment.
Yeah, it was.
This is terrible.
I always remember the first game he did because they were worried that he might curse.
Yeah.
So they were saying that he needed like a 5-second delay. And I remember it was the Rams. It was the first. I think it was the greatest show on turf. And I just remember a clip of like Falk running into the touchdown, and he was like, "You guys thought I was going to say an F word. I think the only F word I'm going to say is Falk."
I'm surprised they didn't hit
that line.
They hit the 5-second delay on him.
That was his best line of
his entire career there.
Hasn't.
Who else has been the worst? Another experiment they had Tony Kornheiser, as you know from PTI.
Right, yeah.
He did Monday Night Football.
It was around that same time, actually, I believe. Yeah. Awful, just very monotone, terrible. I'm going to go with the current Monday Night Football crew. I mean, they're bizarrely terrible. Jason Witten I can stand, but he's boring as hell. Tessitore's terrible.
I like the play-by-play. He brings some energy.
Tessitore's terrible.
Okay.
And Booger McFarlane is maybe the worst addition since Dennis
either.
Miller.
Yeah, I'm not a
Especially
big fan
him
of
sitting on the cherry picker outside, just destroying somebody's seat at $350 a seat up down there. So I don't understand what they're doing with that. It's a terrible, terrible experiment.
I like the play-by-play guy. I think he brings a lot of energy. I mean, you did compare Booger Fallon to Dennis Miller, so as we said, that is
the addition of that position.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, because I was going to say that
sitting
is some
outside
bad,
on the cherry
that is some
picker,
bad company.
I'm not a big fan of the 3-man, multi-man booths.
Okay.
Having multiple people outside like correspondents is great, but anything past 2 guys, not a big fan of.
It's tough to juggle it. We're going to get into some that do well with 3-man booth, but I agree with you. I think 2-man booth is the
play-by-play, color commentary. Honestly, your color commentary should generally be in the best role would be a former athlete, guys who, and we'll get to that a little bit later, best athletes turned analysts, we'll get to that. But who's another worst for you?
You want to go athlete, too. He was an athlete, I think, and then he was another flagship Sunday Night Baseball. Joe Morgan. I'm sorry.
Not
he was boring.
Wasn't that good.
Just boring.
Yeah, we're going into baseball. He was boring. He made mistakes.
He would call the wrong things, fumble his words. Don't get me wrong. I do the job professionally myself. It's not an easy job. But at that level, the certain kind of calls, you have to be articulate. You have to be able to talk. A guy like Bill Walton sounds like he's calling things with a mouthful of marbles and pudding and potatoes. Not a fan.
Reggie Miller's a complete bore. I can't stand him. And I loved him as a player. Loved him.
Oh yeah, for sure. Ice in his veins.
Yeah, didn't like listening to him do a game. And he usually had a good crew around him too, though, which is
he knows his stuff, but
Yeah.
sometimes just knowing your stuff isn't enough.
Especially you have to have a personality, a voice, something to you. A lot of the guys that you mentioned, you're like, they're monotone. I can't do it. Some guys that works for if you have a balance. Like the Jason Witten thing, that's why I don't mind it so much, because Jason Witten is so boring.
Oh, big time, yeah.
I'll bring in one guy I'll mention, and to me, he's so bad he's good.
Oh, that never works.
But he is bad. It's John Sterling. This is coming from a local flavor.
Okay.
No, he's just terrible. He's not so bad he's good.
No. We talk about, he's not a bore. I'll give him that.
It's not a bore.
But no. It's way too many mistakes. Like, I can remember his mistakes so well. Like, I think it was a couple of years ago, they were playing in Texas, and someone hit one to the upper deck, and he said, and that ball's gone into the upper deck of Tiger Stadium. One, they were in Texas. Two, there's no more Tiger Stadium. So he was in the wrong city and the wrong era of baseball.
At least he didn't say Three Rivers.
I know. I don't know how he. But
I did find somebody that was worse though.
Really?
Susan Waldman.
I loathe her. I'm sorry.
Terrible.
She's bad. I'm sorry.
There are great.
Oh my God!
It's just
the
some
worst
people's
thing I've ever
voices
heard in my life.
are just like grating.
That's
cheese.
that's
It's
baseball,
terrible.
Susan.
Baseball has another one that he's probably the most unpopular when you ask most people, the one who gets on your nerves the most. And he also does multiple sports, but for me, baseball is where he gets the most annoying. Joe Buck.
Yeah, Joe Buck is I think I'm here nor there. I don't despise him like a lot of people do, but he shouldn't be getting the big assignments that he's getting. In my opinion, he's getting because of Jack Buck, who was his father, a great
radio guy.
I think he's good at what he does, Joe Buck. I wouldn't say he's the best because I know he's the top man and for Fox.
You want to talk about zero emotion?
I think he's good.
Oh.
I think that's what but I think that's his. That's what he just wants to give you the facts with no emotion and let the color guy come in and do it.
I disagree.
It's tough with a play-by-play guy. You got to make sure not to step on the color
sure.
guy's toes, and the vice versa. The color guy has to allow you to call the play.
There are certain things that, like a strike three, where don't say anything. Or
let
like
me call the strike three,
for me,
and then you
for a
and
pin.
then you jump in and give the analysis.
But Joe Buck, a lot of times, he is very biased and comes across bias with some teams and some players. If he feels like there was a personal slight, it's been said before. And I'm just not as big. I'm not the biggest fan of his.
As a New York guy and a Yankee guy, I used to say the same thing. Oh, he has a bias. I've listened to him more. I don't think he has a bias. I probably just wanted to believe that he did, you know? I don't think he does. I would agree why I say he's not the best, because I do think there are times where he's too monotone.
Too monotone.
Like, and I'm a Giant fan. I remember him calling the play where Tyree caught the ball on his helmet, and if you just listen to Buck, it sounded like it was the first quarter of a Week 3 game.
Yeah.
You know, and that's a problem. I
No
agree.
life.
So you shouldn't be completely monotone. And I think he tried to come away from that. When he hit the home runs in the World Series, when he tried to
he tried to emulate his father's
call.
call. I get it, with the freeze home run, right? That was it. Yeah, this is the World Series. They should have lost terribly. But I'll give you another honorable mention for a player turned booth guy that just didn't really work. Trent Green. I don't remember a single thing that he's ever said.
Nope.
So I can't say anything.
Nope.
Because I don't remember a word that he's ever said.